welcome back, Love Nation. This is Nina. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that has been coming to my channel. Like this video, share this video, and hit that notification bell so you know when I drop my next one. We are now about to get into part 5 of the Cassie versus Diddy civil lawsuit documents in full. Trigger warning on these documents, and this will bring these documents to a conclusion with part 5. These documents were extremely troubling, and sadly so, as the making of this video, more women did come out to speak out about Diddy, which I have to make videos for. This is a trigger warning. This is very sad. And like I said, I'm glad that Cassie got some type of justice, but it's very sad that this happened to her and the rest of those women. Um, anyway, trigger warning, you guys. Here we go. 7. Diddy R words Cassidy. By 2017 and 18, Cassie became desperate to leave Diddy and his abuse of her. She recognized that if she stayed with him, she would never be able to have a successful career or ever be physically and mentally safe. She therefore became determined to break away from Diddy and his cycle of abuse and made concerted efforts to avoid him. In September of 2018, she joined Diddy for a dinner at the Italian restaurant in Malibu, California, for what she believed would be a discussion about concluding their relationship for good. After dinner, Diddy and Cassie returned to Cassie's home, which was paid for by Diddy. Diddy forced himself into her apartment and tried to kiss Cassie. She told him to stop and attempted to push him away. Diddy then forcibly pulled off Cassie's clothing and unbuckled his belt. He proceeded to R-word Cassie while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Soon thereafter, Cassie took steps to completely separate herself from the longtime abuser, including by leaving the home that he paid for and returning the car that he purchased for her. Despite moving away, Cassie's address was posted online in early 2019, leading to fears for her safety. Cassie, who was under immense duress during the months after Diddy R-worded her, took all steps possible to entirely remove herself from him, including by entering into contracts to end her record deal with Bad Boy Entertainment. Chapter 8. Diddy's S.A. of Cassie has caused her lifelong harm. As a result of the immense trauma Cassie endured over a decade with Diddy, she has suffered and continues to suffer from immense emotional distress. Following her escape from the cycle of S.A. and being trafficked, she struggled with the physical and mental manifestations of her trauma. The birth of her 2 children, however, allowed her a new lease on life and gave her purpose. She credits her children with saving her from the trauma that has been consumed over a decade of her life. Except for the months when she was pregnant with her children, Cassie struggled with her addictions to pharmaceuticals and alcohol, addictions that were established and fueled by Diddy. She turned to pharmaceuticals to drown out the memories of what happened to her. Without being intoxicated, she suffered from horrific nightmares of the forced SA acts that Diddy demanded she participate in during the regularly scheduled FOs and of the physical pawing that she endured throughout her relationship. She had difficulty eating or sleeping, and her relationship with her family suffered. During this time, she frequently had thoughts of completely deleting herself. To rebuild her life and career, Cassie needed to completely reinvent herself. She checked herself into inpatient at a rehabilitation center where she first confronted the extent of the trauma she lives with. She has required intensive therapy and other medical care to recover from Diddy's circle, and she will forever live with the physical and psychological repercussions of over a decade of being pawed, fear, exploitation she endured. Although Cassie was unable to speak up against the years of what happened she endured at the hands of Diddy, she has since been able to rebuild her life and confront her trauma thanks to the passage of New York's Adult Survivors Act and California's SA Accountability and Cover Up Act. She is now ready and able to confront her abuser and to hold him and those who enabled his SA accountable for their actions. First cause of action, SA under 18 USC 1591, against all defendants. Plaintiffs repeat and reallege each and every allegation in all the proceedings paragraphs as if fully set hereon. Plaintiff is a victim of trafficking within the meaning of the U.S. Section Code and is therefore entitled to bring a civil action under said U.S. article. The defendant's act and omissions taken separately and or together as outlined above constitute a violation of Section 18 of USC 1595. Specifically, defendant Sean Combs perpetrated this of Cassie by requiring her to engage in forced activity in multiple jurisdictions, and all defendants benefited from Diddy's venture by holding Cassie, an artist signed with defendant Bad Boy Records and otherwise employed by other defendant, though corporations, captive to Diddy's demands and desires. At all relevant times, defendant participated in and facilitated the harboring and transportation of plaintiff Cassie for purposes of SA induced by force, fraud, or coercion. The defendant corporations have financially and otherwise benefited as a result of these acts and omissions by keeping Diddy, the volatile and explosive owner of the defendant corporation, satisfied. They benefited from facilitating his behavior to the extent it kept the mercurial music mogul happy and kept Cassie obedient to Diddy and the corporation's interest. Defendant Diddy and defendants Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Entertainment, and Doe Corporations 1 through 10 formed a venture as defined by the U.S. Section Code, given that they constituted a group of two or more individuals associated in fact or not a legal entity. As a directive and proximate results of defendant's unlawful conduct, as alleged hereon above, plaintiff has suffered physical injury, severe emotional distress, anxiety, humiliation, embarrassment, post-traumatic stress disorder, economic harm, and other consequential damages. Plaintiff also seeks reasonable attorney fees as provided under the U.S. section. The second cause of action, the violation of the New York Services for Victims of Trafficking in New York City. Plaintiff repeats and realleges each party in every allegation in all the proceedings paragraph as if fully set forth herein. Plaintiff is a victim of SA within the meaning of New York Penal Law Section 230.34 and is therefore entitled to bring a civil action under the New York State Codes. The defendant's acts and omissions taken separately and or together as outlined above constitute a violation of the New York Code. Specifically, defendant Sean Combs perpetrated SA of Cassie by requiring her to engage in forced essay activity in the state of New York, and all defendants benefited from Diddy's venture by holding Cassie, an artist signed with the defendant, Bad Boy Records, and otherwise employed by other defendant, Doe corporations, captive to Diddy's demands and desires. At all relevant times, defendants participated in and facilitated the harboring, transportation of plaintiff for purposes of SA induced by force, fraud, or coercion. So at the end of this document, you guys, it's just explaining why Cassie's situations that happened to her over the 10 years with Diddy is consequential to the California and the New York state laws. These are basically what the rest of the document is saying, is spelling it out, is describing each code. You guys can pause the video if you would like to read each code, but I don't want this to become redundant because each code is just explaining, hey, this is where all of these violations fall under. It's describing each cause of action with California and New York's law. There are so many things, so many moving parts of this document. I feel very bad for her. At the end, it's just saying that she's praying for relief. She's asking for a judgment. Now, she did ask for $30 million plus attorney's fees. And Diddy did settle this within 24 hours. However, the actual amount which was settled was not released to the public at this time. But she did receive compensation within 24 hours, which within itself is pretty damning. To settle this and not even file a response to this or do any fact finding or interview witnesses or even go over the evidence that she had. That's pretty damning. So yeah, this definitely did open the floodgates. So this is the document, you guys. Thank you guys for sticking around for all 5 parts. I will definitely be following this situation as more women have come out against Diddy. Like, share, subscribe, you guys. Until next time, be safe. Enjoy your day. Bye, guys.